The following contest is aura versus aura, and it is for the fuck of it.
In every form of creative media, whether that be movies, music, TV, writing, content creation, you need to bring out the strongest possible character that you can possibly be in that moment. And some of the best examples for that comes from professional wrestling and the performing artists like rappers. In this video, we have who has more aura. We've got WWE stars going against rap stars. 11 female, 11 male, both sides. First one is an all women's match. We introduce and then we get into it. NXT Women's Champion and TNA Knockout Champion in JC Jane versus Sexy Red herself. You're always seeing like the same type of personality come from these two. It's not like the most outside of the box personality or character, but it's consistent from both sides. Sexy Red's strongest point for this was like 2024, like from the Hood Princess album. Obviously scoring great results from Anthony Fantano. And JC Jane only just recently tapped into her full potential after beating Stephanie Valkyrie for the NXT Women's Championship. And then Marsha Slamovich. Both of them have been on NXT TV, likely on the same day too. Sexy Red was at Raw once. She was at Heatwave last year. And then she was at another show of NXT. And I think that was the ECW one, I might possibly. Or when they've swapped from the black and gold brand to black and white. JC Jane presents herself as a heel. Sexy Red, like just as a rapper, that's usually for like this type of ratchet archetype. This is 100% for the character too. Like, yeah, she probably wants to have fun and do the thing that she says in her songs. But also, if you watch an interview from Sexy Red, you're also seeing like that she good at science or some shit. I don't know. I see it on Big Boy. But that lets you know that's 100% for the character. For marketing, for branding, you know what I mean? The one between the two that present themselves with a stronger character has the better aura. I feel like right now is JC Jane. Talking about 2024, we're probably talking about Sexy Red winning it. But right now, 2 belts, that's JC Jane. Like, surprise win, and I love NXT ideas. I feel like it is more entertaining to watch NXT than it is the flagship shows. Due to how free they actually are, like they had Ethan Page versus Santino Marella just because they had the TNA contract and the new Canadian North American Championship. Between these two, JC Jane does take it. Fair is fair. Let's move on. Javon Evans versus Nicki Minaj is a crazy one. With like the experience is different on different levels. I think Nicki Minaj has been around since the late 2000s or early 10s. And I swear, like, professionally, like in the WWE, Javon has only been around for a year. And bro is so dope. Excluding Twitter beefs, who actually brands himself right, who is the stronger presence, who has the stronger aura. You have a Javon who's more like a energetic, crazy, like, athlete. I'm also waiting for them chants to come in. I need people to be like, Vaughn. But that's a chant that needs to start happening. If I would say, like, the closest person that always comes into my head due to how young Javon is, like, he's my age or, like, just 1 year older. Me being 20 this month, next week, and then being, like, 21 now. Or 20 now. Like, he started the WWE at the age of 19. Obviously, being from this generation, he reminds me of Kai Cenat. Less hyper. Definitely less hyper. But what he lacks in velocity and shouting into a microphone and the camera and smashes the keyboard and fireworks and stuff like this, he's usually transformed into diving from one side of the ring to the damn Titantron because the boy is bouncy. If Javon Evans ever got the chance to fight Darby Allin in the way that they are now, I'm trying to see that, but not if Javon is going over to AEW. More like if Darby's coming over to WWE. Not to be tribalist, but it's a better situation for both. I watch AEW too, you know what I mean? But WWE is where it's at. Vaughn obviously carries himself as regular as he can. He's more of like an athlete than a heel or a super babyface like a Cody Rhodes. He can talk on the mic, just like Nicki Minaj. You Carmelo Hayes. Nicki Minaj, objectively queen of rap, won't actually be dethroned for like a good 10 years, at least. She's always like seeming to fight. If it's a stronger aura, like if we put it in one character, it's usually about to squabble up. You know what I mean? With somebody who's touring with that song. And that's SZA. That's not even Kendrick Lamar. Does have a toxic side. Definitely does. Very evident. Also has like a career mother side to it. So it's like an all mix of three things all at once. Which is what Nicki Minaj is. So if we say who carries themselves the better way, who has a stronger presence, who has the best aura, that happens to be Nicki Minaj. Until like Javon main events WrestleMania, which I'm trying to see, bro. That's Javon Evans. I'm also trying to see Javon Evans with the damn championship to the NXT championship. Those big three in NXT, which we're gonna talk about. Javon. We'll get to the other one. Strong three, bro. All different type of like skills, moveset, but the chemistry that they have in the triple threat from Stand and Deliver, so you already know now. It's so blaze, bro. Anyway, that's enough glaze, bro. Ethan Page versus Ken Carson. Crazy sentence. Ethan Page has been in the industry for a good 30 years, they say. So he's a veteran in NXT, so if any time the main roster wants Ethan Page to come up, that's fair enough. The excuse for that, and the reason will always be veteran, 30-year veteran, just like with LA Knight, AJ Styles, people like this. Ken Carson, been popping since 2021. I only really got the gist of his music in a good 2020, I'll say 4, like last year. So I'm more of an alt-rap fan than a hypebeast fan. But because I love hip-hop so much, I'm willing to adapt. I'm willing to listen to everybody. But if that shit whack, that shit whack. Ken Carson does some good songs. Ethan Page carries himself as a heel. Ken Carson did. And then tried to say that it was some St. Paul. Let's just say this little symbol here was Australian on his chain. Seeing Ken Carson perform, he does have energy, but I don't think he captivates a stage that well. Like with new songs, like you lack energy in the crowd. That's fine. That's new. Compared to how the crowd reacts to Ethan Page, I do feel like they respond better to Ethan Page than they would to Ken Carson. In the fields that they're working. Weird video to understand. But honestly, this is like marketed, it's fun, psychology, supporting a guy who only has 548 subscribers, which I'm grateful for. You know what I mean? I'll work for them. God is good and only gonna get better. Who has the stronger aura? That happens to be Ethan Page. Kendall definitely get it though. It took Playboy Carti from like 2015 to 2018 just to have some amount of aura. And that obviously is happening with Ken Carson right now. From this year forward, you're probably going to see better Ken Carson projects. Obafemi versus Lil Tecca. Lil Tecca only just came into his own. Like for real, like there was good music, good songs from each album that he would drop. Just like good few songs, but this Dopamine album, I was bumping that like for at least 2 months straight. Just on repeat, always on like, my favorite song from there is probably One Night and then this Dark Thoughts. There's just good music on there. Obafemi, I think he's been around for a minute. I don't actually know how long back because I only really started watching weekly WWE NXT probably like October last year. Weekly October last year. Consistently October last year. But I would watch the pay-per-views all the time, PLEs all the time. Because in UK, you barely got any type of Raw or SmackDown. All you had was NXT and PLEs being on the WWE network. Now everything's on Netflix. And unfortunately for you Americans, which I do not agree with, the pay-per-views are moving on to ESPN. That is not it. That is weak. Some of you might be able to afford that. You don't see a problem. Cool. Some of you, I feel you. I definitely feel you. And as the great one said, quote unquote, the great one, Netflix, VPN. Whatever the cheapest way you can watch that, or the easiest way for you to access that. The safest way at the same time though. Don't be putting viruses on your computer. So you're talking about two GOATs right now. You're talking about the ruler. You talk about Lil Tecca. And honestly, who has a stronger presence than Obafemi? Yeah, Lil Tecca got the locks, he got the glasses, he got the leather jacket, but Obafemi, was that little, I don't even know what to call it, but that neck accessory with the wrist. Also, I don't know the names for what he was, but bro, that just walks like boom, boom. That's Obafemi. And having the moveset that he does for the size that he is, one of the coldest wrestlers of all time. That's Obafemi. Who has the strongest presence? Obafemi. Better mic skills if you want to talk about this, Obafemi. Better presence, stronger aura, Obafemi. And it's like that, that's fine. Lil Tecca, young, Obafemi, 32. He's supposed to. How old is Obafemi before I say something like that? I don't want to get that age wrong. Unless he's older than that. Obafemi, 27. And Lil Tecca only just about to turn 23 too. Which also, oh no, he got to be a Virgo. That's insane. Leo's over here, bro. But you being August born is fair enough, bro. It's so fine that Obafemi is a stronger presence than Lil Tecca right now. Given that the industries are so different too. Some people are just able to turn on their character. You go further up into this list that we have, you're gonna start noticing answers swap around each time. We just had Ethan Page beat Ken Carson, but Javon Evans lost against Nicki Minaj. There's difference, there's experience. What did they do differently? Look into that. I'm also gonna try and explain that the best that I can off the riff. Great example. We got a great example for this. Trick Williams versus Playboy Carti. Trick Williams is a GOAT, holding the NXT Men's Championship and the TNA Knockouts. No, he's only holding the TNA Knockouts Championship. Lost the NXT Championship to Obafemi. Bro, you're talking about two people. If Playboy Carti ever was a professional wrestler rather than him being a rapper, the chemistry of these two in the ring would go crazy because Playboy Carti more like a tall, skinny type. He's going to be doing high flyer moves. Trick Williams is like that Booker T moveset kind of thing, which is more like a technician style. Hard to explain what the hell that is. I feel like it's just cool shit, bro. Being able to move like that is good moveset. But in the feels that they do actually have, when we talk about Trick Williams, never stutters on the mic. You see a lot of NXT stars. I think he did start on the mic December last year before he really got onto Trick and A. He was definitely failing into the promos, but then once he understood it, confidence is there. I'm this type of guy. He always delivers. When Trick Williams gets to that main roster, I don't think WWE main roster can be the same in the field that they're going to be in. Trick Williams is probably going to change just the slightest bit, but it's going to be so noticeable because everything evolves. 10 years from now, there's no Seth Rollins, there's no Roman Reigns, there's not going to be a John Cena. So who has to beat him? Trick Williams, Obafemi, Ethan Page. At WrestleMania 50, you're going to notice something from WrestleMania 40, which was one of my favorite WrestleManias of all time. I'm just hoping that WrestleMania 50 can deliver that well too. We also need a good championship story. Let that be Javon Evans, but also let that be Trick Williams or Braun Breaker. Anyway, Playboy Carti, albums are so tough. You have self-titled, a good amount of dialect, whole lot of red, and a good amount of music too. Since swapping over and changing his whole style, maybe even turning heel. If it was a wrestler, it would be called turning heel. Going that vampire route that he did made him be one of the hardest performers, up there with a Tyler the Creator and a Travis Scott for these days. Having one of the strongest auras, strongest stage presence in hip hop. Honestly, all time. Let's talk about it. Top 22, top 25. You talk about stage presence. Who has that? Playboy Carti is on that list. Whose aura makes that crowd move a little different? Playboy Carti. So that stage presence through the roof on venues that don't even have no roof. So these are good examples. Honestly, wish I was talking about it even further. But the way that these are ranked is over WWE 2K25 overall and how good. What is the rating overall on the artist albums on Album of the Year? That's what we got a calculator for the overall and the Album of the Year. WWE just added there on the SmackDown Hotel. So this is so good for like what this video is, that it's hard to pick a choice. And I feel that right now, the answer is Playboy Carti. Because he really is moving the hip-hop community. We always end up talking about Carti some way or another. Whether that just be we're talking about hip-hop side where it's all branding, you know what I mean, all character. Not necessarily talking about him in the rhythm and poetry, but hip-hop is go-to too. They're on the same level. You can't just be rhythm and poetry and expect to get as over as a hip hop member or a hip hop artist. You have to have both in hand. Good example of that is gonna be talked about up there. Favorite on the list. Not in heaven, we're not gonna die together. True Williams definitely will get there though. Julia versus Doja Cat. Great women performance. You know what I mean? Obviously, Doja Cat on the hip hop side, you could say that she's rhythm and poetry too with Scarlett. Primarily on the hip hop side though, that next album is said to be French. And Julia, great performers out the both of them in their own lane, industries, all of this. There has to be one that has a stronger aura though. I feel Julia has changed from a face to a heel. When she arrived, because people in NXT are so embedded in professional wrestling, so logged in, everybody knew her. I did not. If I told you I did, I'd be lying. I was like, who the hell is Kylie? You know what I mean? I was that guy. Hello. Then I found out who Julia was. And Julia's NXT days were a lot stronger than her SmackDown days. We seem to be getting somewhere after her winning the US Championship and having, god damn, that's gonna have to come to me because she's got a translator, also a manager, but I forget what her name is. She has no aura. I'm playing. Let me know in the comments who that is because I'm actually like, I should know. Doja Cat has been very rocky in her aura, involving herself into Twitter beefs. So that's obviously hurting the brand a little bit. Not too much. But how she presents herself when she's on the stage, when she's in the music videos, when she's on that microphone doing her songs. Basically performance. I feel like it's good. I feel like it's a good, strong presence. We're definitely watching, you know what I mean? I think her best performance that I've seen is probably 2024. I saw her live a while, but I feel her 2024 Coachella performance was better than that. Being able to do so much, having the smoke around and the walking sticks, she's a pimp. That also helps her aura, you know what I mean? And I feel between the two, the person who has the stronger aura right now, or overall, is Doja Cat. But give it a little minute, it could change. Right now, Doja Cat. Honestly, seeing her Coachella performance, I also wanted that out of Bianca and Jay tag team, the fairy coat and the stick, because of how like hench they are. Walking around in that manner with the Storm and the EST, call it whatever you want to call it. But that tag team presented in that way would have actually gone numbers. It would have done so much numbers. But that's my reference point. I don't know what. Obviously wasn't in WWE's reference point. It obviously wasn't in WWE's reference. Damn. It obviously wasn't in WWE's reference point. Valkyria versus Glorilla. Lyra's run was probably different in NXT compared to what it is now, but then we're also getting a stronger performance out of Lyra Valkyria since being in the feud with Becky Lynch. Minus a zip ties moment at SummerSlam, Blase Spliff. Lyra is cool. Glorilla, 2023 was her year. Carried that over to 2024. Now she's on the song talking about wibbly wobbly, wibbly wobbly. So right now, we're talking about right now, obviously Lyra Valkyria's got a stronger presence, but that might be the answer. I think it might be Lyra Valkyria. I'm also, speaking of Glorilla, she was on Kai Cenat's Mafia Fun. The day that real active superstars from WWE get interviewed or be on Kai's stream, I feel like we need that. Because Kai was invited to the Royal Rumble. If we can get, especially with him and Javon, or one that would just blow your mind is Cody Rhodes. Anybody that's available for that time is a good example of who should be on there. Active WWE stars. Yes, he had John Cena on there, but John Cena is retired. And that was a good stream too. But I'm saying if we can get real active, if you can get Trick Williams on there or CM Punk, anybody, bro. Because I also want to say a good point is there was a post on X today that it said that the content creators are the worst thing that happened to hip hop. It was specific content creators, it seems to be. But you have to know that these days, the content creators are the radio personalities and the DJs. When they react to an album, that's exactly how people from the 90s was going through the DJs, or exactly how they was looking at the radio personalities. Today's just different. It's so DIY. I'm in my bedroom talking into a blue microphone, which is clearly black. Also claims to be a Yeti, but I ain't budge a bit. That hurt my spine. Anyway, the person with the stronger aura out of these two happens to be Lyra Valkyria. Regardless of the Becky Stumpers and the zip tie, I feel like that is the truth for the moment. If it was last year, Glorilla. Damn, a lot of women. I swear there was 11 men and 11 women for both. Roxanne Perez versus Lotto. Somebody who still did better in NXT than they are doing now, that's Roxanne Perez. She had a good year though. Lotto kind of toned down, but I do believe that her 2023 run was very like her peak at the moment. I believe it can get higher than that, but Lotto was 2023. That was her year. Lotto's best year so far has been 2023. I enjoy watching Roxanne, but I do feel her presence was definitely stronger on NXT. She's doing a good job with Raquel Rodriguez on the Judgment Day, but I feel like as soon as we're able to change that a bit and have her go for a solo run, get her over with the crowd and stuff like this, it's gonna be like 10 times better than what she was doing on NXT. Like I already explained this too, is basically they're in the same situation. They had better years, but they're also able to still do better than they have. I feel that they're so on par with each other when it comes to aura that it's hard to pick either or. Right now, being the runner-up, and I feel both Elimination Chamber and Royal Rumble for definite though. Being the runner-up, I think in both of those, but I do believe Elimination Chamber, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. This year, the better and stronger presence, the better aura. That goes to Roxanne Perez over Lau. Stephanie Vaquer versus Flo Millie. We're already right there. We already know who's going to win. Had the years been different? Yes. I feel Stephanie Vaquer shows herself in a good in-ring ability. The entrance helps her presence, or it helps her character. Consistent. Depends how she's booked. When it is her time to perform, she performs well. Same with Flo Millie as well. Flo Millie was definitely one of those female rappers that was over before female rap was actually over initially. Had it been 2020... Damn. It's hard to pinpoint a year for Flo Millie. I know she didn't have her strongest year, hasn't happened this year. It's between 2023 and 2024, but also since 2019, I believe. So that's a good run. Her last big hit should have been with Skepta, the song that she did with Skepta, but I feel the one she had the remix with Scissor on, which is Never Gonna Lose Me, definitely did do more impact on her career. Stephanie Vaquer, at the moment, is the one that we have to go for, having a stronger presence right now. Every time that she's able to get in the ring and do what she do what she do. I just hope at Clash at Paris, if Naomi is cleared, which hopefully pray to God that she is, you already took Seth Rollins away from me from that lineup that I'm going to. Not necessarily taken away from me, just booked on different days. You cannot take Naomi. Please don't, bro. But if that match happens to happen at Clash of Paris, where we have Naomi versus Stephanie Vaquer, I don't really want Stephanie to win just yet. But maybe a good big 4 PLE, which is your Royal Rumbles, your WrestleMania, SummerSlam, and Survivor Series. Any of those is clear. Have good moments, big moments. Do that, but not B-side. You cannot have Naomi lose at a B-side PLE after that cash-in. We're not even talking about Naomi yet. We're talking about Tiffany Stratton versus Megan Thee Stallion. I swear, there is 11 people. There's 11 men and 11 women in both hip-hop and wrestling. The ones that I did, but this seems so female-dominated. I think it's just with how the list worked out. I promise you, there's 11 people, there's 11 men and women on both sides. Tiffany versus Megan, though. Hard to explain, but I feel Tiffany's having her year now. Megan had a year from a female rap was definitely at a point in 2019. Hasn't fell off. I think she's just a staple in hip hop now, especially in women's rap, women's hip hop. From 2019 to 2022 was Megan Thee Stallion's prime so far. That's where her prime is. Tiffany Stratton, great NXT run and great main card run. Run the NXT Women's Championship. Also that match with Becky Lynch. To being the women's champion now. Speaks different. You know what I'm saying? And I feel we talk about right now, in the present, who has a stronger present. I did see Megan Thee Stallion perform live, and I was definitely rocking with it because the PA system had them 808s. I do prefer a backing track with 808s than I do a live band. It's just how the 808s, the PA system, and the mix and all this. As I'm saying, bro. For me, being a hip hop head, I'm trying to feel those 808s, that bass. You feel what I'm saying? It's cool if you melodic and you like a slow jam type of artist. Then you can go ahead and play your little drums and stuff like this. But when it's time to turn up, you're not trying to hear unless you're over there in the metal side, which is fine. But over here, bro, we're trying to hear the boom. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, that's why I rock with Megan Thee Stallion, because that made me understand that I do prefer that more than a live band. Better presence right now. Are we on Megan time or are we on Tiffany time? And I feel we're on Tiffany time. and that's who's got the strongest presence right now. But it could change tomorrow. Ironically, a match that could have happened this year did not get to due to Cardi B not being able to take bump because she got bump, and Naomi being the women's champion, the world heavyweight champion. We could have had it. It didn't need to happen. SummerSlam was so good, minus the match with Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa. I wish that didn't take in a steel cage now. I would have much preferred like no disqualification outside the ring, just them going crazy. These are also good people, good entertainers, good artists to put against each other. Right now, you got Cardi B coming out with her album sometime soon. But you got Naomi talking about proceed with caution, looking villainous, the strongest villain that she's ever been. Vicious 2-star and biting Rhea Ripley. Cash in that she had was insane. And I do feel Cardi B might have had a stronger presence in 2017 with Bodak Yellow, having that music video the way that that music video came across, rather than now. Compared to Naomi, I feel like that's how it is. You talk about stage presence, performance, all of this, and I do feel like Naomi wins that. Henceforth, Naomi wins. Better strong performance, stronger presence. But it's never no hate. I'm just trying to make people understand and also bring two communities that it's hard to bring together. I feel like if you're watching this, you probably write with both. And you're probably an artist in some way. Say it with me. Heard Sammy was a preacher.
Call the man a god, type of Sammy was a preacher. Sammy Anaconda, Vice Prince, Codeine, Lena. Get it type of ratio, how much ice per lead? Cause I'ma run that by that like a high. Pearline eater, fruit of my labor. I'm a wise man on some favor for a favor. Dirty gentleman, same thing on some flavor for a flavor. As I come first like step.
Bailey versus Travis Scott. Both this year, the same problem, booked poorly. Bailey missing SummerSlam and WrestleMania. Travis Scott being at WrestleMania. Both GOATs. Let's talk about both came in around the same time. 2015, 4 horsewomen, one of hip-hop's strongest characters. I can take the jacket up now, can I? I'll take the whole thing off, bro. It's really boiling in this thing. 4 walls, 1 window. Yeah. Bailey's still able to put in a good performance. So is Travis Scott. But this time around and this year, they haven't been putting up the best. Because you talk about what Bailey did last year, WrestleMania 40. Crazy. Io Sky match. Crazy. Survivor Series War Games, I believe. Crazy. I'll have to do a check on that. Crazy. I believe so, though. Crazy. With Travis Scott, great year in 2023. I'm not trying to say the one before that because that was obviously not a good year or a good show or character. 2023, Utopia. Good album. Good ideas. I appreciate how many times I saw the word idea being commented underneath the video that I put out before this one. Anyway, you talk about the presence of Bailey. I feel like there's a human feel to it. There definitely is a human feel to it. But she keeps on swapping from face to heel. She's in a heel turn now after that video package on Raw. Talk about ding dong and talking crazy. You know what I mean? Laughing. With Travis Scott right now did not win the beef between him and Pusha T. Wasn't even a strong beef. Did not even hurt Travis Scott's career. I think Jab Boys 2 definitely hurt Jab Boys' career because Jab Boys 1 was so full of hits that this one over here, Jab Boys 2, maybe that's not it, bro. You did so much, like the quality over quantity, and Jab Boys 1 was so present, so in the room with us, that you had your breakout stars come out of there. Sheck West has already been like a major name. I'll say he's a good mid-carder. And when I say mid-carder, I'm not saying he's a bad or mid-rapper. I'm saying there's lower card, there's mid-card, and upper card. He's not a rap star, but he's a good hip-hop artist. Possibly he is on the lower card, though. Not in talent, just in career, where his status is at. That's about Sheck West. Talking about Travis Scott, basically the Seth Rollins of Jab Boys. It was a bad performance. Travis Scott has had a bad performance in 2025, not stage performance, but in just like even in wrestling. And I want to see Travis Scott again, but given how that went down, I understand why they won't. I honestly want to see Bailey more, given the fact that it is her field. I think they're both on the same level this year, bro. Last year, it was decent. You talk about Fiend was still a hit song carrying from 2023 all the way to 2025. Bailey winning the Royal Rumble going against Io Sky. But this year's been a rough year for both of them. What I did enjoy so far from Bailey, though, was yesterday's Becky Lynch and Lara Valkyria feud. I rebuke negative presence. I only talk about stronger presence. All in good positivity. If I talk about overall who's got the better aura out of the two, it's going to have to be Travis Scott. But this year, it wasn't really the best. Obviously, the feud I enjoyed with Bailey, though, if to get back onto that topic, was Becky and Lyra and the one that she had with Roxanne. And then it's great show. The winner out of the two, Stronger Presence, Better Aura, Travis Scott. Nia Jax versus Yeet. Crazy, like that's it. Well, only gonna see stuff like this if you watch Colin. The hell type of matchup is Nia Jax versus Yeet? God damn it, you know what? I might do have that. You're only gonna find that on Colin. You know what I mean? That's the only channel you're ever gonna see this. Nia Jax versus Yeet. Who has a stronger aura? Nia Jax has definitely gotten a stronger presence since coming back off her return. Being booked the way that she has been booked. Yeet is starting to get better with project after project. People are rocking with Yeet. 2023 for Yeet was probably a lot better. 2024 for Nia Jax. But if we talk about who's presenting themselves better, who is a stronger presence, it's hard to say. It is hard to say, but Nia Jax is very not afraid to be cringy. Where Yeet is able to avoid that somehow. I want to know how you do it. The coolest is obviously Yeet. The one who looks like they could beat people up is Nia Jax, of course. That's supposed to be how it goes down. Presenting them, who gets a better reaction? I'd probably say Yeet. Stage presence for Yeet. I would actually say, like, in this one, put in the reactions for both. I do feel like Yeet gets a better reaction than Nia Jax. So better aura, stronger presence, Yeet. Io Sky versus Doechii. Great matchup. Io Sky is obviously a stronger presence in wrestling. And Doechii is in hip-hop right now. But if we talk about where they're at in 2025, currently, who has a stronger aura, who's getting the better reactions. You know how it's going to go down if you are paying attention to both. And I route with both so heavy. But I feel one move and one mistake in your career, and it's probably going to be effect for a decent amount of time. Especially if you're not playing chess. Because Io Sky has not had her career affected ever since she came back off of the injury. Seen as a potential Royal Rumble winner for this year's Royal Rumble. The main event of WrestleMania last year, but not really. That was just for like the Women's Championship. With Doechii, unfortunately, while I do enjoy her performance, and Cam Flogno was a great showcase of that, anxiety ruined her career just a little bit, and she wasn't able to counter-strike off that. I feel like she was in a rut because of how much that traction was good for her money, her finances, financially comfortable. But damn, you gotta like release the next song after that and the album after that so that we can get... No, Doechii is not in the industry plan, which he's not. You know what I mean? You just need to be able to counter that. Io Sky does a lot of reversals. Learn from that. The alligators never bite. Like, the alligator bites never heal. Was a great performance from her. Strong presence. Good aura. Then as soon as Anxiety was released on all platforms and took to TikTok, YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, this is when it starts to affect. And it's not even her fault. She just put out a good song that got overplayed to the point where it was a bad song. Just based off of that fact. I guess the overplayedness of it did have an effect on how people's perspective was on Anxiety song. People are not trying to hear it, bro. But I can talk about Boiled Peanuts. I can talk about Slide. I can talk about these songs that was on Alligator Bites Never Heal. Had so much potential for Doechii's career until Anxiety was released on all platforms. Therefore, Io Sky doing all this now, helping her get over with the crowd. Now you're seeing everybody pointing at their face. The better performer, the stronger presence, the better aura that comes from Io Sky. But I do rock with Doechii. It's very complicated just where we're at right now. There's never no hate. There's just sometimes you gotta counter it. But maybe she saw something that we didn't. But for that aura, kind of goes down. Because he's talking about singing at the crowd. Nobody's singing it in the crowd on the videos. Anyway, definitely a cool one. We got to talk about Jey Uso versus West Side Gun. Where I believe one of them showed up on SNME. And the other had showed up on All In by AEW. Which sounds like it's just a bunch of letters. But that Saturday night main event from WWE for Jey Uso. I believe I do. It was definitely Jimmy Uso, but I don't know if... It was definitely Jimmy Uso. But I don't remember if Jey Uso had an interference. Was a part of an interference. West Side Gun sang for... or performed for the Hurt Business intro or the entrance. They both had a good aura, good case of aura since Jey Uso broke out of the Bloodline, but from Bloodline. And West Side Gun, consistent artist. You know what I mean? When you talk about real rhythm and poetry, you talk about West Side Gun these times. One of the faces of modern day boom bap is West Side Gun. That whole Griselda is that wave of modern day boom bap. So they're both on the same level in their own way. And right now, where West Side Gun is struggling to make an album as good as Pray for Paris, Jey Uso is struggling to find that, not to get over with the crowd, but to get a good storyline or present himself in a way where it does feel like he should go over with Cody Rhodes or something like this. Because he is that over, but he is not presented so well. We have a fatal 4-way coming up in Clash of Paris. And the recent thing I saw with props to him, because that's the GOAT, you know what I mean? But the recent thing I saw West Side Gun do, all in AEW, and lose weight, helped me out too. But it doesn't really help his aura, in a sense. It doesn't change the way he's gonna rap. So better aura out of the two, who is received better from the crowd. So we have CM Punk versus JID. That's a good matchup too. Definitely a strong matchup. The biggest thing that CM Punk was able to do this year, main event WrestleMania, then at SummerSlam, he won the World Heavyweight Championship, but then was cashed on by Michael, and I apologize, but boo-hoo, bitch. Which I am also trying to see CM Punk versus Cody Rhodes at some point. Like, I don't want CM Punk to never have a championship. I want him to win one. But when Seth Rollins was involved, you think we gotta take sides, and if we're taking sides, I'm taking Seth Rollins, bro. JID released God Does Like Ugly. And I took that as a compliment. Better performance this year does come from CM Punk. We do have to talk about that, which we already did with the fact that he did main event WrestleMania. In a strong match as well, you had Roman Reigns for star power, Seth Rollins for psychological and in-ring, CM Punk for in-ring. Having those in a triple threat, insane. Then I would have been so happy if CM Punk was able to just walk home holding that World Heavyweight Championship. But when Seth Rollins brings in that case and drops the crutches, Seth Rollins takes it back home. Seth Rollins takes it back home. Hey, bro, I feel like I'm in a war. It's like Romeo versus fucking Juliet here, bro. I feel like that. I don't mean to be disrespectful, but bro, you trying to have beef? I feel like they're trying to get me to quiet down. That's not in this house. That's next door. So we'll talk a bit. No, it's right over here. Let me try and go ahead now. CM Punk versus JID. We already explained everything. And I feel the better performance out of the two from this year happens to be CM Punk. JID's album is good. But I do feel like CM Punk has been a stronger character throughout this year. So CM Punk wins. Stronger presence, better aura. Gunther versus Tyler, the Creator. Gunther has had a good performance this year. Crazy, weird match between him and Pat McAfee. Just with the way that went down. But Tyler, even having Chromacopia on the tour and Don't Tap the Glass, both surprise albums. A video that Tyler recently released. 2 letters, TF, 2 words. Trying to foot. No, the fuck? What's going on, bro? Respectfully. But yes, both of them have had incredible performance this year. Weird moments, more on Tyler's end, because what the fuck? I was able to actually see Tyler at the concert this year and that festival after Call Me If You Get Lost in 2022. Got performances. Obviously witnessing both one in festival and the other in a concert. The best one was the concert, of course. VIP tickets. But if we talk about other crowd, how different crowds react for both, I feel like this right now, I feel like this year happens to belong to Tyler, the Creator. But if it was IC champion Gunther, it would have been a different situation. So, stronger performance, better aura, stronger presence. That happens to go to Tyler, the Creator. I don't know if I'm bugging talking this low, because next, these people had either sneezed and then I heard some shit after that, but it sounded like shout and then sound. So I'm gonna be respectful, because in the UK time, it is nearly 11 p.m. on a weekday. People gotta work and shit like this, so I'm gonna talk really quiet. Had fun in the first half, and now we're in the last 5. I'm gonna record so much earlier next time. Seth Rollins versus Pusha T. Pusha T obviously starting to beef with Travis Scott, which you're wrong for that, but I understand why. And the Clips album was good. Rated 10 for Anthony Fantano, 8 by me, which I understand. And Seth Rollins won at WrestleMania and basically SummerSlam. And if they would have let him, he would have been Royal Rumble too. He the GOAT right now. Who got a stronger presence? GOAT right now. Seth Rollins definitely. And I'm not even talking on the bias level. I'm talking about the real. I'm talking about who is doing the most, and that's Seth Rollins. Fooled everybody. Not everybody. Everybody was like, oh, that's definitely fake, because Instagram exists. Had it been in the 80s, nobody would have been like, oh, it's definitely fake. So the person with the better performance this year, Seth Rollins, from the heel turn and the cash in. Big moments for this year. Having Paul Heyman in there. And Bronson Reed is now wearing 2 pairs of Roman Reigns shoes on around his neck. So Seth Rollins has that. Clips album was good though. The way that the crowds react to both. I do feel like it still belongs to Seth Rollins because it's like, oh. So Seth Rollins wins that. Unbiasedly, objectively. John Cena versus The Weeknd. The Weeknd did not have a good performance this year. But Hurry Up Tomorrow was a great album. The movie, I enjoyed it myself. But the way that it ended, just it's very similar to the reasons why they might have had the weaker performance than they used to. Was the way that it ended. For most people though, in the Weeknd movie, it was shut up. But for me, the reason why I didn't enjoy it so much, like I enjoyed the process and I enjoyed the right up to the ending. Because why did you cycle back? I don't like that. We wanted to see more of that. But same with John Cena, turning face all of a sudden. Granted, that heel turn, aura, come on now, this is the video. The Weeknd was also out Rolling Loud on Playboy Carti's stage, which is good. But John Cena has definitely had the better run this year. And I feel like he has the stronger performance and presence of all time compared to The Weeknd. But The Weeknd is so good, let's not do that. So obviously the John Cena wins. Cody Rhodes versus Freddie Gibbs. Great performances from both of them. Everybody was talking about Alfredo 2 when it dropped. Everybody was talking about the last Cody Rhodes match was good. Decent title reign before he lost it at Mania and then now he got it back. He doesn't need to have it for so long. If you want to give it to Drew McIntyre, go ahead. I'm also trying to see CM Punk versus Cody Rhodes. So this year alone, that Royal Rumble match too. Let's not forget about that. The Hey Rock, go fuck yourself ended up being John Cena or Roman. SummerSlam was great, passing another torch moment. I believe the person who has the better aura this year, the better performance, the better presence, the way it carried themselves, happens to be Cody Rhodes. Rhea Ripley versus SZA. Great performance, great artists, great creatives, great talents. Rhea Ripley is as over as her in a damn glass break from Stone Cold Steve Austin every time. I don't know how, but it's obviously there. It's not like she sucks, bro. It's like if you don't know wrestling, you still know who Rhea Ripley is. It's just over every time. It's like a grand return of Rhea Ripley. You're so amazing. For SZA, she's dope too, and on tour with Kendrick Lamar right now, the greatest rapper, rhythm and poetry artist of all time. My favorite of all time, but he's not second. You know what I mean? My personal favorite is Tyler the Creator. I don't think that he is better. I just connect more musically and as an artist to Tyler. So when we talk about the difference between these two, Rhea Ripley's had great matches this year. The WrestleMania Triple Threat, the SummerSlam Triple Threat. I think she was only she would have been champion actually at Royal Rumble. I believe so. Because Sky only won that championship 2 days after Elimination Chamber. And I feel SZA had a better year last year. It feels very like phantom. Not really this year, but she was present last year in different situations with Kai Cenat, with Glastonbury, so on and so forth. So I feel her and her album, I think, came out last year too. Definitely would have. Christmas Eve, I think I listened to that album. Look at me, eh? Anyway, Rhea Ripley versus SZA. I think Rhea Ripley has the stronger aura and carries herself well and better than SZA just this year. And it's probably going to stay like that, but it will be interesting to see a shift change. Not to see Ripley get weaker than herself, but to see SZA get to a point where it's a shock. Not too like OG dickhead kind of moves where the old school people do not stream the performances. Stream your performance. Stop being a douche. Or don't be announced for that lineup, bro. This is 2025, not 1995. Get on the fucking live stream. You're a dope artist. And even if you had a bad performance, stop the bullshit, bro. You're more of a dick if you don't stream your performance than you are if you had a bad one. That goes for some legends too. Come on now. So Rhea Ripley wins. So I'm not talking about SZA. I think SZA's been live streaming her performances when she's been announced for lineups. Roman Reigns versus Little The Sims. Which the answer is
probably already evident because it's not. Sometimes I might be introvert. Little Sims, it's last album I forgot the name of, unfortunately. Roman Reigns has had a good 2025. Good show of character, good presence right there. Little Sims is not nearly as much star power as Roman Reigns, which is obviously Aura. Great talent on both sides, and obviously UK, you know what I'm saying? And I feel the stronger performance, overall, the better presence, the stronger character, obviously does come from a Roman Reigns than it does a Little Sims. Even just that movie he was in with Kiki Palmer and Eddie Murphy, Pete Davidson, the pickup. Or the next movie is being a Kuma in Street Fighter, the movie. Good shit. Good show of character, good aura. This is Tribal Chief Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns has more aura than Little Sims right now, which makes a lot of sense. But I'm just showing you how to, even with this little situation I found myself in right now, talking to them fucking, I'm playing. I have respect for them. That's why I'm talking solo. And that's just how it is. So what I've learned from talking about all these is you have to be able to power through situations that you might find yourself in. Whether there's thin walls or there is a crazy amount of pressure, you have to be able to make sure that your album is so played or your match is so watched, so hyped up for, both ways, both ends, hyped up for. You have to be like, oh damn. I do feel like what killed Legendary or Michael Jackson type of aura is the art of mystique kind of coming away. But what you're able to do, just show up as your brand. Don't overdo it. Just be yourself at a more confident level. You know what I mean? I would act like this in real life if you saw me. Probably talking a little louder, but still acting the same way. This is my level of aura. It's probably a good 45% out of 100. But we build what made it go for a 45 and then a 50 is because I quieted down from a which is probably a sneeze. Which if it was, bless you. But if not, then we back into it. And that's who has the better aura, rap versus WWE. Let me know if you agree with the decisions that I made in this video. If the context was fully there. And if you rock with this whole cultural get together, the hip hop and professional wrestling. WWE for the most part though. But that's me. I've been Golden. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm gone. Out.